Hey guys, it's BSRC here for RC Nightmare. In this video I'm going to show you how to seal your Traxxas differential. Now this differential is used in the Rustler, the two-wheel drive Stampede, also used in the Bandit and the two-wheel drive Slash, and any of the Monster Jam trucks, which are really just Stampedes. So why do we seal a differential? Well, this differential from the factory is not sealed, meaning that if you filled it with fluid it would probably leak out over time. All they have in here is grease to keep it in good working order. Why do we seal a diff? Well, if you seal a differential, you can fill it with Diff Fluid. I have some right here. Diff Fluid is like shock fluid, except a lot thicker. And what this is going to do is allow us to slow down the differential action. How does that help you? Well, if you have a high power setup, like this castle system we're going to put in our Slash, you'll notice you'll do a lot of one-wheel wonders. All the power will go to one wheel and it gets ballooned and expands real far. By sealing the differential and putting fluid in there, we can slow down that action. The power will go to both wheels and we'll get a lot more traction, so a lot more straight line acceleration. So that's what we're going for. So what you need to seal the differential is obviously some Diff Fluid. You want some small Teflon washers. These are sold by Traxxas under part number 1985. Some small O-rings, just two of them. I have these are 3/16 inner diameter O-rings. A countersinking bit, half-inch countersinking bit, and a drill. Any electric drill will work. What we're going to do is start by disassembling the old one. I got it apart here already. We're going to take out all the shafts, gears, get them all to the side. We're not going to need them in there right now. Take all this out. And get it out of the way. It's going to be greasy. Obviously they got it filled with grease, but we will clean it up later. Okay, all the gears are out of there. Now we're going to start by modifying the case of the differential. So if you notice on the side of both sides of the differential, we have a small lip. And it's this small lip right here that sticks out not more than a 1/16 of an inch off the side. We're going to take that lip down and get rid of it. That lip is used to engage the bearing inside the transmission. This guy here, when it's all put together, that rests against the inner race of the bearing. So we got one on this side, and we also got a lip on this side. You can see it right there, that very skinny lip on the outside. What we're going to do is take our countersinking bit, chuck it up in our drill, like so. And we're going to ever so slightly, be careful when you do this guys, use the countersinking bit to get rid of that lip as well as countersink into the plastic a little bit. Our final goal here is to be able to take one of these O-rings, one for each side, and replace that lip with the O-ring. And this O-ring is going to provide the seal so the fluid doesn't leak out. So start by taking that lip down very slowly at first. You can always remove more material later, so just go slow. Stop and check it. Still got quite a lip on there, so we're going to keep going. You can see again, almost gone. I think I got most of it gone. Yeah, here we go. That's going to peel right off for me. Get rid of the extra flash, all the leftover plastic from the countersinking bit. And this is what we're left with. We have a countersunk lip on there, and again the O-ring is now going to fit inside that lip just a bit. You can see how it kind of sits in there. And the Teflon washer will go over the top of that O-ring so that we install it back in our transmission. That washer kind of squishes the O-ring and provides the seal. So we're going to do the exact same thing to the other side, guys. Again, take your time. And just check it every once in a while. Make sure that you got a good fit. Just place the O-ring in there, and really you just want about half the O-ring to be able to fit inside your countersunk hole. Check it once in a while. I'm almost there. A little more. Remove the flash. I'm just doing this with my hand, guys. If you prefer, you could always use a Dremel to clean it up, or even a file would do the same work to get rid of all that extra plastic, but this one came off pretty clean. Okay. Again, you can see on this side, I have a nice countersunk hole in there. Just a little lip so that the O-ring can sit right inside, just like that. Perfect. All right, next step, we're going to want to clean out all the old grease in the differential on here and on the cap. I got a lot of plastic shavings too. I'm just going to use some contact cleaner, which I already bought. A little bit of contact cleaner will go a long way. Clean it out and make sure that we're starting with a brand new slate here. We got all the old gunk off. Now it's time to fill the differential with your fluid of choice. Now I have 500K Diff Fluid here only because we're putting this castle system in here. It's going to have a lot of torque. I want my diff to be extremely slow, extremely thick, so it's hard for it to transfer torque to one way or the other. Now you may want to use, if you're in a track situation, 30K, 50K, or 70K. 500K is pretty thick, but again, we kind of want almost a posi rear end in this situation. So again, use the diff fluid that you find best for your track situation. If you're bashing around, you can raise the fluid a little bit. We're using 500K just to harness the power of that SCT system. So start by putting your shafts back in, like so. Okay, got my shaft and gears installed. You can see I'm spinning in there. Now it's ready to be filled. Now, as you're filling, this is kind of like filling a shock. You want to make sure that as you're putting the fluid in, you're not getting any air bubbles, and that you work it in slowly. When you're filling a shock, you usually move the shock shaft up and down. In this case, we're going to want to spin the gears so they kind of pull the fluid in and fill in all the gaps. Now with 500K fluid, this is going to take a little bit of time. This stuff is like molasses. So be patient. Dupe it in there. You can see how thick this stuff is. It's almost like glue. I'm just going to spin the shafts real slowly, and it's going to help pull in that diff fluid. You can see it's the gears grabbing the fluid and helping to disperse it around. A little bit more. Not too much. Remember, this differential has a cap that seats down all the way, so I don't want to fill it all the way up to the edge. I want to fill it up to that lower edge. Spin it around to help work it in. You'll begin to feel just how hard it is to turn this shaft as it's filling, and that's the whole goal here. We're slowing down the differential. All right. Again, keep working it around. This is looking pretty good. I'm going to finish the rest of this off camera to save you guys the time. Okay guys, I got my diff completely filled up. I'm going to show you exactly how it looks when she's topped off. You can see that the fluid filled all the crevices, and it's nice and flat. And again, I don't have it up to this top ridge, it's just below that, because again, the cap is going to have to seat in there. So just take your time here. It'll take a little bit, especially if you're using really thick fluid like I have. It'll take a little time for that all to settle down in there, but well worth the wait. You don't want air pockets inside your differential. So now that we have our diff filled, we can start to close it up. Now this is a very important step. The rest of the seal is going to be on this outer lip. We've got to seal the cap what I like to use for this step, guys, is a little bit of Rtv sealant. You can get this at any automotive store. Just a little bit of rubber sealant. I'm going to put just around the edge here to keep the fluid from leaking out there. So we put in our last gear under there. And I'm just going to run a little bit of sealant on the outside edge of this guy. I'm going to use my finger for this so I don't apply too much. We really only need a very small amount. Get a little bit on my finger here. I'm just going to run it around the edge. Just a smear to help make the seal. Doesn't take a whole lot at all. I like Rtv just because it does remove if you need it to. So if you need to open your diff again, fill it with a different kind of fluid or rebuild it if you stripped it out. It's not permanent. It's not really a glue. It's just a nice rubber sealant. Okay. So you can see I got the seal all the way around. I'll take this guy and plop it right in here. Just like so. Perfect. Wipe the excess off. Now we can put in our 4 screws. Now these are going into plastic, obviously, so don't tighten them too much, just enough to hold the cap on. Okay, now we're almost done. All that's left is put an O-ring on each side, slide it down the shaft, one on the other side, slide it down, and then our Teflon washers over the top of the O-ring. So now when we install this in our diff case, we put the 2 halves together. The bearings are going to push against those washers, push against the O-rings, and seal up the differential. So it can still spin. You can see I'm spinning it here, but the fluid won't leak out. Now you'll notice the before and after. As you turn your differential shafts, it's going to be extremely hard to turn after you've done this modification, and real easy before you do. And again, this is exactly what we want. Now that this can hardly spin, the power will go to both wheels a lot more efficiently. It won't want to tend to spin one wheel. So install that back into your trans case, and you're all set. That's it for this mod, guys. If you have any questions, you can comment below or post up at RC Nightmare forums. We'll talk to you soon.